Starting with some questions from Facebook. Grim RE asks, in terms of hypertrophy, is there any significant difference between only doing one exercise targeting the particular muscle you're trying to train and 5 different exercises as long as volume and intensity are matched? So overall, it shouldn't make that big of a difference as far as just kind of like overall muscle hypertrophy goes. There have been 2 or 3 studies looking at this, just training a muscle with only one exercise versus a combination of different exercises. And you don't tend to see particularly notable differences in terms of just overall kind of global gross measures of increases in muscle size. But what you do see pretty frequently is differences in terms of regional hypertrophy. So, for example, if you only trained your quads with one quad exercise versus a variety of quad exercises, your total increase in quadriceps cross-sectional area will probably be pretty comparable regardless, but using a variety of exercises helps ensure that all 4 heads of the quadriceps are more evenly developed. Whereas, maybe you might have more, say, preferential vastus lateralis development or vastus medialis development or something like that if you only used one exercise. Similarly, there's a study we've talked about on the podcast before looking at triceps growth following just doing skull crushers versus bench press versus a combination of skull crushers and bench press. And the skull crushers and bench press were both independently pretty good for overall triceps growth, but the skull crushers seem to be particularly good for the long head of the triceps, which is biarticular, and the bench press seem to be particularly good for the monoarticular heads of the triceps, like the 2 that don't cross the shoulder joint. And a combination of both skull crushers and bench press seemed to be necessary or at least beneficial to ensure that all of the heads of the triceps grew pretty robustly. I don't think you strictly need a bunch of exercise variety just to get big in general. But if regional hypertrophy matters to you, or if ensuring even development of all of the heads of a particular muscle matters quite a bit to you, then there might be benefits for more exercise variety.